Hi, Fiona Clark here, the Zenergizer. Welcome to you all. And today I'm going to talk to you about what tapping is, traditionally known as emotional freedom technique. I'm going to be using more the faster EFT method if you are familiar with tapping. So you might find it's just a little bit different. Just to give you some ideas, we're going to talk about what tapping is, how you can use it, and we're going to go through a process so that you can use that, what you can use it for, and why would you even think about doing this? Let's face it, it looks a bit weird. Maybe it is a little bit weird to some of you, but believe me, it works. Now, just to give you a little bit of a background, I have been using this method I've been using tapping for about 13 years now. And I actually found this to be incredibly powerful when I was going through a very stressful time when my ex-husband left. And I had all these thoughts in my head that I wasn't good enough and I wasn't worthy and I wasn't lovable. And so my mind was creating all this disturbance, all this stress, all this emotional overwhelm and anxiety. And this is what we do, isn't it? When we're thinking about something that doesn't feel good, we really start to create and have all these stories in our mind. And when we have sort of like some energetic charge or we feel emotional about that, number one, we'll feel it somewhere in our physical body. For me, I feel it in my solar plexus, but for you, you might feel your hands clench or your jaw, or you feel it in your shoulders, your neck, your back. It's different for everybody. So we'll go through that a little bit later and you can see what happens for you. But as energy beings, think of yourself as that beautiful stream. When we're in flow, when we're happy, when we're confident, when we know the world is our oyster and we can do anything, everything feels joyful and peaceful. And it's just like that stream or that river that's just rolling down over the rocks and it just flows. It ebbs and it flows. It sparkles. It smells nice. It's just glorious to watch. And that's what we're like when we're in our flow. Now, when we get stressed, when we get sick, or when we're in pain, it's almost like that stream has come to a sort of standstill, if you like. You get a pool of water that cannot move. So it's all slimy, it's all a bit sludgy, it's green, and it's all lots of algae, and it looks dull, and it often doesn't smell nice, does it? It's really not nice. And that's sort of like where your energy comes when we're feeling sick, in pain, or stressed out. So what we want to do is to release that energy from that green sludgy pond so that we can flow like that beautiful river again. And so by tapping at the ends or the beginnings of these meridian points, we open up those energy channels so that the energy can flow beautifully. Now, what the tapping is also doing, it is sending signals back actually to the amygdala, this part of the brain at the back of your head, which is responsible for all the emotions. Because whenever we are stressed, sick, or in pain, generally speaking, it's because we're thinking about possibly an event that's happened or something that doesn't feel good. So we've got some negative emotions around that, surrounding that. So when we're using the tapping, what the idea is here is that we are calming down the amygdala, where that emotional place is, all those emotions are kept, and we are reducing the stress. And a lot of the scientific research that's being done on it, and you can research that more for yourselves, but just to give you an idea that some of the research has been showing that when we are using tapping, and we use tapping for say an hour, you can reduce your stress by 24 to 50%. It's massive. It is equal to 1 or 2 sessions or hour sessions of tapping can be equal to as much as 5 hours of CBT. So there's a huge difference. It's a very quick method to create change in the way you feel, okay? And our feelings really come from our emotions, don't they? And that generally is stemming from our subconscious mind. What are the memories that we are going back to? And let's face it, most of the memories and the events and the beliefs that we have started to, or have been created, have come from before we are 7 years old. Because before 7, we are still in that theta state. We are still in a very beautiful, innocent state, but we are absorbing all the beliefs and indoctrination from the people around us. So our parents, our teachers, maybe our churches, our environment, everything that's going on, we absorb those emotions, those feelings, those thoughts. So if somebody is telling us at that very young age, no, you're not good at this, or, you know, if you do this, you're going to fail, or don't do blah, blah, blah. We all know these different things. Then we start to obviously take on those beliefs. We start to react to those beliefs in whatever way they are. For example, we were talking about this in another video. If somebody at school has said to you, you're not any good at maths, you're never going to be good at maths because you just failed that test again. What do you think you're going to grow up believing? You're never good at maths. And so it goes on. So you take on that belief, and so you start acting in that belief. I'm not good at maths, so don't ask me to do that because I know I can't do it. Okay? So this is just some way that our beliefs start to be initiated. They start getting created when we're, generally speaking, when we're very young. And then we practice them and we believe them. We believe them. You know, one of the beliefs that I had, which was something that I was told from probably a young teenager, actually, not possibly when I was much younger too, was I wasn't good enough. One of my stepmothers always said to me, you'll never make anything of yourself because you're not good enough. So when my ex-husband left, it all came back again. I'm not good enough. I'm definitely not good enough because he's left me. I'm not lovable enough. I'm not worthy enough, whatever it is. So can you see the way these beliefs just keep on coming round in our life in different situations? It's almost like Robert Smith says, they'll come round in another pair of shoes and find you somewhere else. Just when you think you've sort of put that in a box and it's all okay. So this is why when we're working on, working with the tapping, we are actually changing the neural pathways. We're changing those thought patterns that are in the subconscious mind and maybe have been there for a long, long time. We can actually recreate those into new ways of thinking. So this is where it is so powerful to use this. So the points we're going to use today are the beginning of the eyebrow, now the end of the eyebrow, underneath the eye on the socket, and then on the chest. And now if you have been watching any of the EFT or you're a practitioner, you'll see a lot of people will just use these two little dents underneath here. And quite often I will just do that as well. But more often than not, I will actually use the flat of my hand. And the reason I do this is because we've got our thymus here, right in the middle of our chest. And if we're stressed, in pain or sick, then obviously our immune system is low. So when we're tapping, this is K27, this is kidney meridian point. When we're tapping this point here, we're boosting our immune system at the same time that we're calming down the kidney meridian. Now, you might be thinking, well, why are we tapping these specific points? Because they are specific. They are not just random points just all over your body. They are specific points because they are beginnings and ends of the meridians. So remember, the meridians are your energy channels, and there's 14 of them that run up and down your body. And when we're sick or stressed or in pain, they can have that bit of blockage. So go back to your water. When it feels like it's a bit stagnant, that's a bit like your energy when you're sick, in pain or stressed. So I want to give you an idea of, because I could just go on and just say, well, you're going to tap these, but I'd like you to understand the reasons why we are tapping these points, because every meridian, when we're looking at the Chinese theories and the 5 elements of the Chinese, I'm not going to go into that, but there are the 5 elements in the Chinese system. Every meridian has emotions attached to them, okay? So there are emotions attached to each of these meridians. So I'm going to tell you what they are. Now this one, the beginning of the eyebrow. Now when we tap, you can do both sides. You can do one side or the other side, whichever you feel most comfortable with. Now bladder is to do with a lot of fear, anxiety. It's if you've got problems with that inner direction, so your inner self, if you feel frustrated, if you feel that you don't have the courage to do something, if you feel you're lacking in confidence, this is all related to the bladder meridian. The emotions are related to this point here. Now at the end of the eyebrow, we've got 2 points here. This is gallbladder. Gallbladder is very much to do with anger, judgment, resentment, feeling unmotivated, feeling helpless, and feeling hopeless. You know, those feelings where you just think, oh, what am I going to do? That is gallbladder. We've also got on this side spleen, meridian, which is very much to do with boosting our immune system. Spleen, the emotions connected to that is sort of like having the faith in your future, or maybe you're feeling really anxious about what's going on in the future. Maybe you're just not feeling very confident. So that's what that meridian is all about here. I'm just giving you a few snippets there. Obviously there are more, but I'm giving you the shortened version. Okay, so under the eye, otherwise you'll be here all day with me. Under the eye, on the bone socket, this is stomach meridian, all right? Now, stomach meridian actually comes all the way down through your stomach and goes off the middle toe. The gallbladder actually comes all the way down the side of your body and comes off the little toe. And the spleen wiggles its way around and comes off here. Bladder all the way down your back and comes off second toe as well. So when you think you're in pain, you can also trace these meridians and see if actually they are going through the pain wherever that might be in your body. Because those meridians, if you've got pain, there'll be some disruption with that as well. So it's another reason why this works so beautifully for our physical problems as much as when we've got those emotional stresses. So back to stomach. Stomach, as you can understand, stomach is all about maybe disappointment, feeling criticized, feeling satisfied, feeling that you just don't have so much harmony, or feeling discontent. So think of all those feelings that, you know, we feel in our stomach when we're wanting to eat, because what does food give us? What does that nourish us with? It nourishes and makes us feel satisfied. It makes us feel content and, you know, good in ourselves. So these are the emotions that so often come up, and we know the stomach is the seat of all emotions. We know that saying. So this is stomach. Now underneath here, as we spoke about, it's K27, it's kidney meridian, and it's literally where we dip down here. So just tap, or you can just tap here, or again, you can just do one side. Now, kidney, again, is all to do with fears, anxieties, dread, panic, being indecisive, maybe not feeling very creatively secure. So, you know, it all comes back to that fear, that anxiety. Am I good enough? So this is a fantastic point to use. And this one, and I'll mention this now, if you feel at any time during your day where you're feeling a little bit anxious, you're feeling a little bit out of sorts, or you're feeling a little bit panicky, maybe your stomach's churning a bit, then you can tap here and breathe. And when I'm saying breathing, I want you to breathe from the bottom of your stomach, because what we tend to do when we're feeling a bit anxious or a bit stressed, we take those short, sharp breaths from the upper part of our chest. Okay, so I want you to be focused on breathing from the base of your stomach, allowing your chest to open, so that you're allowing that lungs to get the breath in, and just tap on these 2 points. And nobody's going to think you're bonkers if they see you tapping these. When you sort of start tapping around your face, they might think, oh, what on earth is she doing? But this point is fantastic to use at any time if you're just feeling a little bit out of sorts. And just breathe. Very, very powerful point. And you know, we do this with babies, don't we? We do this, I know I used to do this with my boys, but I used to do it on their back. But it's very calming. And you may find that you do this automatically without realizing why you're doing this. Because let's face it, we are all our own healers, and we do so many of these things without consciously knowing why we're doing them. So I'm giving you the understandings now of maybe some of the things that we do. Okay, so the last point we're going to use is right on the top of the crown. Okay, so it's not at the front, it's at the highest point of your head. This is governing meridian, and this meridian actually starts in the back of your teeth actually, and comes all the way down your spine to your coccyx bone. So this point, this meridian, goes all the way down through your nervous system. Okay, down your spine. Now this one, you just think about this one as clearing your head. It's fantastic to clear the mind, which is what we're wanting to do, isn't it? It's almost like you're sort of seeing that just open up and all that stress just disappearing. Okay, so that's just giving you a little bit more understanding about the points. I'm going to just tell you about the point right underneath your nipples on your ribs. Now you can just tap here. I don't always use this, and it's not one that I'm going to add into it today, but I love to tell people about this because this point here is liver meridian. Liver comes all the way off and it goes off in between the big toe and the second toe. Liver is all to do with anger, wrath, rage, that real, I've had enough. And quite often, I've known people to just tap this point. No others, because they've been so angry and they have literally bashed themselves quite sore here because that's how they felt. And then once they've done it enough, body's just said, okay, I don't need to do that anymore. So I like to tell you about that in case you do get one of those times when you're thinking, I'm so angry, then just tap this point. Just let it go. Just see how that feels. All right? Now, so those are the points. Talked about energy and the flow, and when we are a bit like that stagnant pool of water, we want something to just release that flow or release that stagnation so we can flow, so that we are this beautiful flow. And when we're feeling happy, that's exactly what we're doing. We're just flowing along, aren't we? You know the difference it makes to you. So I started to use this technique, just to give you a little bit of an idea of why I'm so passionate about this, about 13 years ago. And I started learning it for myself before I actually trained in actually doing EFT. And I was fascinated by the difference that it made to the way I felt. And then when I was going through my divorce and everything else, I really needed to know the answers to the whys, which why actually never gets you answers. It never gets you solutions. You just go around in circles. But I really needed to understand, why had my husband left, and why was I going through this awful time, and why was I thinking all these things? What was going on up here? And this is when the EFT and the tapping was at its most powerful for me, because I was able, and obviously while I was training to be a practitioner, and you do a lot of work on yourself. So a lot of people were working with me, thankfully, as we were going through the courses. And I was working on myself afterwards and in between. And I realized that the beauty about this is, number one, once I teach you, you've got that tool for life. At the end of your fingertips, you can heal yourself, no matter what it is, physical, emotional, or mental, spiritual. We can really shift that around. Now, the beauty of this is that whatever issue we have, there will always be a core problem. There will be a belief that is underlying that problem. And if we just keep taking away the symptoms, I'm going to give you another analogy in a minute and you'll understand it a little more clearly, and not get to the root of the problem, that problem will just keep showing up in a different way. It will just keep coming back. So this is where we go with the EFT. When I work with clients on a one-to-one basis, I get in very deep as to where the core of their issues are coming from. And generally they're speaking, they go way back to when they're a small child. As I said earlier, for me, that belief was always, I'm not good enough. And I've had to do a lot of work on that to let that go and shift it. And every now and again, it will still perk its little head up and say, hello. But it's nowhere like it was before. And of course, you know, these issues, when we're older, like me, we've got years of keeping all these emotions stuffed in our head, in the file. Now, I truly think of it a little bit like this. If we do not deal with the emotional stresses of our day, every single day, and we still go to bed with some energetic charge, whether we feel angry or fearful or worried or not supported, whatever it is, if we've got an emotional charge on a situation, you're going to wake up with that again tomorrow. And it's like you have just put that situation into a file, into your filing cabinet. And then eventually that filing cabinet becomes so full, there is no space left for any more files. So it will blow. And you'll either get sick or you become in pain. You know, you'll get aches and pains, you'll do whatever. Because it's your mind telling you, you're not listening to me up here, so I'm going to give you something that you will listen to. Okay, and I've worked with enough people that I don't need to work necessarily on the physical problems, because when we work on the emotions and what is creating and causing that, the physical problems just go. They just disappear overnight. So, number one, clear, think about, let go of whatever issues you are dealing with in every single day. Okay? Right, what I'd like to tell you also is, and you'll really have a clearer understanding of this, is that I'd like you to think of your life as a tree, or an issue as a tree. So when we are, let's give you a simple example. Say, for example, you got a cold. So when you're sniffling and your nose is all blocked and maybe your sore throat, you've got all that going, think of those as the leaves of a tree. Okay, so it's really the symptoms. It's really annoying. You're snuffling and you can't breathe properly, and maybe your throat's sore, you can't talk properly. So we can take stuff, if you take medication, maybe you'll just, be able to unblock and that will be okay. And then you sort of feel, okay, well, that's feeling a little bit better. Think of the branches of this tree as the emotions. What are you feeling? You've got this cold. You're feeling a bit irritated, a bit frustrated, a bit like, ugh, or maybe just a bit sorry for yourself. So those are all the emotions that are connected to this cold, this sniffle. Now, the trunk of the tree represents the event. What have you done to get this cold? Now, let's face it. Quite often, when we go on holiday, we get sick. How often have you done that yourselves? And that's probably because you've been running around, you've been on that treadmill of life, and you're just going, and then you get sick. Okay? So what was the event that's created this cold? Have you been doing something in the last couple of weeks where you haven't given yourself enough self-care, enough self-love, enough time out to be in your Zen zone? Or have you just been on that treadmill pushing yourself because you feel you've got to do all this for somebody for whatever reason? Now, the roots of the tree represent the belief that is underlying this whole situation. So what belief has led to the event that you've got to keep working? Is it because if I don't get this work done, I'm going to fail and I can't do that? If I don't get this work done, I'm going to let people down, so that's also not good. What is that core belief that is being created underneath that whole situation? So can you see, if you just get rid of the symptoms of that cold, there's thousands more leaves and those leaves keep on reproducing. So if you just focus on getting rid of the symptoms, you're never going to get to the roots of the problem. You can maybe get rid of some of those emotions about how you feel about it, but did you really go back to the event and clear the emotional charge that you probably still have on that event? And then look at the root. What is that core belief that you have about yourself? And the core beliefs are generally things like, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm going to fail. Another great core belief that we often don't even think about is the fear of success. We're talking about this with somebody recently. Are you fearful of success as much as you're fearful of failing? Which one's stronger? Have a think about that. So a lot of these different beliefs underlie what goes on above the tree, above the land, with the events, the branches, the emotions that we're feeling, and how those emotions create the symptoms of whatever's going on. Okay, so I think it makes it a lot easier when you look at that as a tree. So because then you can understand why we need to get right down to the actual roots, that core belief. What is the understanding for you? And I'm not going to be able to get right down to that core belief possibly for you today, because I'm doing this in a general way. But on a one-to-one level, that is exactly what I work on with the clients that I see. Because then when you pull the roots up of that tree, you've got no problem. You've got no issues. And you are flowing like that beautiful river. Okay? Making sense? Right. So tapping, what can we use it for? Anything and everything. Absolutely anything and everything. Because when you think about if you are sick, you are stressed, or you're in pain, your body's out of balance, and we want you to be in flow. We want you to be in balance. And so whenever any of those things happen, by doing the tapping, we are then actually connecting with the meridian points. We are rebalancing and calming down the amygdala, who's in charge of all those emotions. And we're getting ourselves out of that fight, flight, and freeze. So the adrenaline starts to calm down, the cortisol starts calming down in your body, and then you get all those happy hormones, the oxytocin and oh gosh, brain's gone dead with the other ones, but all the happy hormones that come back into the body. So you're really calming down the adrenaline, which is what, and the cortisol, which is what creates the disease and the illness in our bodies when we're in this fight flight state all the time. And so many of us, or people I see, are in that state more often than not. And that's not how our bodies were designed. We definitely need a bit of stress, because otherwise we'd never get anything done. But we need to calm down from that stress. We do not need to be in that high anxiety, stressful fight, flight, freeze state on a consistent basis, because that's really when we get sick or we get stressed out. Something happens and it doesn't feel good. So really, I have used tapping for absolutely everything. I've taught it to children as young as 6. I've taught it in schools. This is what I'm really wanting to do even more and more. I taught recently with my colleague. We spoke to all the teachers, taught them, they taught the kids. Then we did workshops with 220 kids from the ages of about 5, up to 11. Exciting stuff. So anybody can use it. Nobody is too young. And I honestly believe that we have a duty to all of our children to share with them how they can deal with their stresses and the challenges that they will have through life. And they're only going to be really reacting in the way that they have been taught or they have seen by other people around them. And that's what's creating so much anxiety in the world, so much depression, so many issues with children are now going on, as we well know. Social media is certainly not helping. I work with a lot of kids, whether it's through bullying, whether it's through exam stress, whatever it may be. There's so much anxiety. So that creates a massive big issue. And then obviously they take that up into their adult years and they take it up into adulthood. So this can be used by anybody. And the younger they are, the better. Even if you just teach them how to do this and let them just take some deep breaths and bring themselves back to a calm place. Because that's really what we want, isn't it? That's where we need to be. So what I'd like you to do is just to think now about a situation that you are feeling like there's some energy on there. There's something that doesn't feel very good about it. Just think about what that feels like. It could be something that's happened today that is stressing you out a little bit. It could be something that's happened a few days ago, a few weeks ago, but something that you are still feeling that you've got some energy on there. There's some emotional charge on it. And before we go any further, what I'd like you to do is just to close your eyes for a minute and put your feet firmly on the floor, and I'd like you to take a deep breath in. So remember breathing from the base of your stomach and taking a breath in for the count of 4. Allowing your chest to open and breathing out for 4. Allowing your body just to sink a little deeper. Breathing in again. And letting it go. And then what I'd like you to do is just to think about that situation, and I'd like you to gauge it on a 1 to 10. 1 being no stress, 10 being super stressed, and just think, where do you hold that? Where are you on that scale between the 1 and the 10? And just make a mental note or write it down somewhere, and just because we're going to go back and check on that, just to see where that's shifted. Now, what I'd like you to also to think about now is just close your eyes again and just notice when you think about this problem, where do you feel that in your physical body? Do you feel, ooh, your shoulders start coming up, your neck tightens, or maybe it's in your head, your chest, your stomach, maybe your hands clench. Just notice where that is. And when you've got that feeling, what emotion actually comes up for you? What emotion is representing that issue? And just make a mental note of that as well. And then when you think about where this tension is that you're holding in your body, I'd like you just to think about what shape is it? Is it long? Is it oblong? Is it round? Is it square? Does it feel light or does it feel heavy? Is it solid? Is it dark? Is it light? And what colour would it be? Just think about what colour. And just notice if anything else you see there or feel, just make a mental note of that. And then we're going to start tapping. So that we're going to begin at the beginning of the eyebrow. Again, as I said before, you can tap on the beginning of one of the eyebrows. You can do both together or just one. Doesn't matter which side. And I want you to repeat after me. I'm obviously doing this on a general basis, so if some of the emotions or feelings or thoughts that I'm coming up with are not matching exactly what's coming into your mind, then please make this personal and say what is coming up for you, okay? So include those as well. So tapping at the beginning of the eyebrow. I release and let go of all this anxiety connected to this issue. All the fear, the frustration, to the end of the eyebrow. I release and let go of all the judgments that I have about myself or the judgments I have about others. Or maybe the judgments that others have about me. Under the eye, on the bone socket. I'm releasing and let go of all the emotions that I'm feeling right now and everything they represent. Down onto the chest, so down here under K27, use the palm of your hand. I release and let go of all the fear I'm experiencing, all the anxiety, feeling hopeless, feeling helpless, feeling all those worries that have got to do with this situation. The lack of confidence I have in myself. Maybe it's the lack of support and the lack of control and everything else that represents this issue. It's safe for me to let them all go and everything that I've created. Top of the head. I release and let go of everything else that has to do with this issue. Beginning of the eyebrow. All these issues, all these thoughts that are going round and round in my mind. I wish they weren't there. The stress and tension under the eyebrow that I'm feeling right now, as I don't really know what to do to get out of this problem. Under the eye. All these emotions that I'm feeling and everything they represent. Down onto the chest. I'm finding this really hard at the moment. And add in here any thoughts, any feelings, any emotions that you are thinking about, that maybe is coming through, even if they don't feel that they've got anything specifically to do with this issue that you're working on. Somewhere along the line they will do. Just keep breathing as you're doing this. So release and let go of everything that I'm creating all the worry, all the stress. It feels so bad. I'm so frustrated and disappointed that I can't just solve this problem right here and now. Maybe I can. Maybe I can't. Whatever I'm doing is I am doing my best. And I love, accept and honor who I am right here, right now. Take a deep breath in. Hold your wrist, and it doesn't matter again which side it is. Take a deep breath in and blow it out. And say peace. And I'd like you just to take a deep breath in and blow it out. And as you're sitting there, I'd like you to think about some roots, those long, long, deep, dark roots that are coming out from the soles of your feet, going deep, deep, deep down into the core of the earth. And those roots are looking down deep into the core of the earth for your little magic pot of essence that is unique to you. And as those roots go into that little pot, just think about what you need now. What would you desire to have in your life right now? Because it's all there in your little pot of essence. And I'd like you to bring that up through into the roots, whether that's more confidence, more clarity, more peace, joy, abundance. Bring those feelings up into the roots, into the soles of your feet, up into the calves, your knees, and your thighs. Just noticing how every little cell touches the next one to it. Little smiley faces, feeling good, feeling happy, feeling at peace within themselves. Bring that up into your hips and your solar plexus, up into your heart space, and just rest into your heart for just a moment. And just notice if you have a message from your heart, what that would be. Bring that up when you're ready into the upper part of your chest, that beautiful feeling of confidence, of calm, of inner peace, of courage, of abundance in every aspect of your life. Bring it into your throat, knowing that it is your right to express yourself the way you need to, with ease and grace. Bring it up through the crown of your head. And as this energy and these beautiful feelings and thoughts are coming up, out through the crown of your head, just feel that coming over you like a beautiful shower. So you're completely encapsulated in this lovely shower of energy, of peace, of harmony, of everything that you are creating. Take a deep breath in and let it go. Then come back into the room. And just notice now, I want you to go back to the beginning where you had that situation. What does that feel like now when you think about it? Go back to your scale on a 1 to 10. Has that shifted down to a 1? Is it at a 1 or is it still a little bit above? Notice how that feels in your physical body, wherever that was that you held that situation. What does that feel like now? Has that changed? Has it shifted? And then we're going to go again. So what I'd like you to think about now is, what does this situation remind you of? Is it something that reminds you of something that's happened way in the past? Maybe it's happened more than once. Excuse me. That feeling that you have. What does it remind you of? And then what I'd like you to do is close your eyes again. And I'd like you to see sort of an imaginary shelf just above you on the wall. And if you've got any other situations that you can remember that have this same feeling, or maybe have the same belief or thoughts that are coming up for you, and put them all up on the shelf. Put all those situations up on the shelf, as many as you can remember. And when you've got them up on the shelf, just notice, are they near to you, or do they feel as if they're quite far away? Are they in black and white? Or are they in colour? And let's go back to the tapping. So beginning of the eyebrow again, and repeat after me. Please add in any thoughts, emotions, feelings that are coming up for you as well. So release and let go of any remaining stress or anxiety that I have concerning this issue and all other issues that have been similar to this in my past. End of the eyebrow. I release and let go of any remaining judgments that I have about myself, or that others may have about me, or maybe I have about others. Under the eye. I release and let go of all the emotions that I'm feeling connected to these issues. Everything that they represent, it's safe for me to let them go. Onto the chest. It's safe for me to let go of feeling helpless, feeling hopeless, all the worries, all the thoughts that are constantly going round and round in my mind. I'm so good at criticising myself. And I'm really choosing to let them go now, and everything they represent, and everything that maybe I've created myself. Top of the head. It's safe for me to release and let go of all these thoughts and everything they represent. I forgive myself for being so hard on me. I'm really, really hard on me sometimes. It's safe for me to let go of that. I forgive anyone else who's had anything to do with this. Maybe they were only doing what they knew how to do best at the time. Under the eye. I forgive myself. Onto the chest. And I'm choosing to let go and see this in a completely different way. I'm choosing to find solutions that work for me. I'm okay. I love and accept and honour myself right here, right now. Then I'd like you to finish off this sentence. I feel. Finish it off. What do you want to feel? I am. So finish the end of that off. Under the eye. I feel. Onto the chest. I am. Just keep remembering to take some breath, deep breaths. Let it go. I am amazing. I feel calm and confident and able to find solutions that work for me and everyone else. I am perfect just as I am. Under the eye. I feel courageous. Onto the chest. I am amazing. And I love, accept and honour who I am right here, right now. Take a deep breath in. Hold your wrist again. Blow it out. Say peace. And connect those roots right down into your magic pot of essence. And just notice now, do you need to bring something else up? What energy do you want to feel? Is it confidence? Is it self-love? Abundance in every aspect of your life? Peace, joy, and inner harmony. And just feel those things all coming up through those roots into the soles of your feet, up into your calves, your knees, your thighs, your hips, into your solar plexus, back into your heart space. Just notice if your heart's got another message for you while you're there. To the upper part of your chest, in your throat, knowing that it's easy for you to speak up with ease and grace. Into the crown and out through the crown of your head. So this beautiful, wonderful energy is just coming over you like this beautiful shower, and you're just completely encapsulated inside there, knowing that you are completely safe. Just take a deep breath in, knowing that you can come back to this space whenever you need to. Another breath. And let it go. And then just bring yourself back into the room again. And I want you to go back to that scale, 1 to 10. Think about that situation. How does that feel? Look at your shelf. How does that feel now? Have those situations shifted? Have they gone? Have they lost all that energy? Just take a few deep breaths and just allow that to process. One of the most important thing is drink some water. When we're doing a lot of the energy work, you may feel that you're getting very thirsty and you may get very dehydrated. So please make sure that you drink lots of water today, and maybe you'll feel it tomorrow. And just go back to that situation. How does that feel? How do you feel in your body physically now? Is that tension gone? That tightness, wherever it was, has that dissipated? Let it go. Now, if you're still above a 1, what I'd suggest you do is to go through this process again. Go through it, and maybe other emotions, other thoughts may come into it, and that is perfectly normal. You may find different situations that you haven't thought about for years are coming through now, and you might notice that you think, God, what has that got to do with this? But there'll be a connection, there'll be something. And just think about, what is that core belief that is holding you back from being the best that you can be? Have you worked that out yet? And what I will say is, with the tapping, quite often you may find that it'll take a few hours before your emotions really start to sort of process this and you start to feel completely different. So just be aware, you are all completely different. Everybody reacts completely differently. You may feel that you're completely zonked out. You may feel that in 2 days' time you can be, you feel like you've been washed out, you're completely zonked. That's also quite normal, especially if you have not done this before. And I find this very often when working with energy and you haven't done this before, it can really take it out of you. It may bring on a headache, it may bring on something else. I don't know, but I'm giving you all the different scenarios that might happen. Other than that, I'm hoping that you'll feel a lot lighter rather than feeling like you're treading through mud or you're just going into a black cloud. I'm hoping that's lifted the vibration so that you're coming back into this high vibe state and you're really flowing like that beautiful river and not feeling that stagnation that we had at the beginning. So there are many, many ways you can use this, but what I want you to do is just to process this for the next few hours, the next day or so. See how you feel. If you've got any questions whatsoever, then please contact me. Let me know and we can talk it through and we can move forward from there, okay? Now, what I'd like you to do, just to finish off with, is my creme de la creme exercise, and it's called Cook's Hookups, because Wayne Cook put this together quite a few years ago now. So what you're going to do is just cross over your feet, your ankles. It doesn't matter which leg goes over which. You're then going to cross your arms. So cross your arms at the elbows, palms together. You're going to clench them and bring your arms up underneath. Now, if you find this a bit tricky, let's do this again, because I know sometimes it can feel like you're going all over the place. crossing your elbows, palms together. You can just keep your hands down on your lap, or if you find that really doesn't work for you, just cross over your hands on your lap that way, okay? Again, we're going to close eyes and you are going to take some breaths. You're going to breathe in for the count of 4. And as you breathe in, I want you to rest your tongue on the roof of your mouth. And as you breathe out, allow your tongue to drop down. I'm going to do 2 more. And allow your tongue to drop down. Let's do another one. Breathing in. And letting go. Feel your body just relaxing deeper and deeper. And then we're going to uncross ankles, uncross your palms, put your fingertips together, rest those back on your lap if that's comfortable. And you're going to do the same breathing again. So breathing in, resting your tongue on the roof of your mouth. And breathing out, allowing your tongue to drop down. And let's do 2 more breaths. And let it go. Bring it in again. And let it go. And just notice how you feel now. I just know that just allows your body just to let go and you feel so relaxed. Now the reason we're crossing over is because we're crossing mind, we're connecting both sides of the brain. So when we're stressed, we're normally sort of in that left brain and we're like do. So what we want is to bring that combination. So we're bringing the mind back into balance. Which is what this exercise does. It is absolutely fabulous if you feel you're working on the computer and your mind is just going and you're thinking, I can't focus on what I need to do. I'm all over the place. It's fantastic to do this, to give yourself a break. If you can't sleep at night, do this. Because when we're focusing on the breath, we forget about all those other thoughts. The reason we're putting the tongue to the roof of the mouth is because it's connecting to the governing meridian, which we said started at the back up there. And this is the one that goes all the way down our nervous system, down to our coccyx bones. So it's calming down everything. It's a beautiful exercise to do. And the more you do it, the more your body just connects into it really quickly because it knows what to do. It's the same with the tapping. Just keep practicing. The more we do it, the quicker and more, well, it's just get on and do it. Now, just a quick way of doing this with the tapping. If you feel you don't actually know what to say, then don't worry about it. Go into the feeling. Remember, our feelings are really the representation of what's going on in our mind. So when we're feeling tense, it's like, ooh, that is your first alarm bell to say something's not right. Something's stressing me. What's going on? What am I ignoring that it's had to come into my physical body before I'll take notice of it? So what you can do is just focus on that feeling, wherever that is, and just tap. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Everything it represents. Right here, right now, I feel safe. So let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. And then you can finish with, I'm okay. I'm safe. I love and accept myself completely. I'm confident. I'm at peace within myself. Whatever it may be. Always add in those positive affirmations, and when you're tapping them in, it's just sending those messages back to the amygdala to shift the emotions that were coming up before, to calm those down, and to start rebalancing to come back into the flow. So, I think I've given you everything that I want to give you today. I hope that hasn't been too much and that you can follow that quite easily. Please, as I say, if you've got questions, come back to me. You can always email me on Clark, CLARK, at me.com. Because I'm always here to help you out. I've been doing it a long time, so I just do it really quickly. But the more you do it, the more you become accustomed to it, the more your body understands what it needs to do as well. So all it remains for me to say is thank you for watching. If you still feel there's some energy there or some more emotions are coming up, just go through that process again. Do Cook's Hookups again, and please drink lots and lots of water. Okay? So thank you for watching, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye for now.